Welcome to the second episode of a three-part series on customer journeys. And last time in our first episode, we talked about the basics of customer journey. We talked about why is it important to the business, and why is it important to basically the customer success professionals and people in the CS team. And so today, actually, we are going to talk about the the creating a customer success, measuring it, and how to use the measurements, the success KPIs to improve customer journey. So that is how we're going to structure the talk. And and so again, we're joined here today with by Pravina, who also graciously agreed to do this three-part series for us. And she's a customer success advisor at Autodesk. And so today we are going to kind of jump right into the thick of things because we want to keep it the session like last time around 15 to 20 minutes. So Pravina, again, thanks for joining. And the first question is like, how do you go about mapping a customer journey?
All right. Good evening, good morning, everybody from wherever you are joining us today. So, we welcome to the second episode of our streaming. And I'm Pravina. Okay. So, answer to Shankar's question, how do we map a customer journey? Like we spoke last time, customer journeys are very, very important to us. And mapping a customer journey understand the journey completely, whatever is involved in their business process to the customer that we're talking about. Could be any kind of assistance that we're giving them, could be products based or service based or anything that is could be. So understanding that involves a quite a bit of stages in it where we completely would want to define the customer personas. And when I say personas, it depends on customer touch points that we talk about. So you got to jot out the important personas that you will be talking to, the major POCs, I would call it in our customers success language, maybe POCs, I would put it across that way. And then you got to identify who are the ones that you need to be talking around, because not everybody from the customer space would be your persona to talk to. Because I would say, in generic terms, the person who signs the contract with an organization would be entirely different from the person that is using it. When it comes to subscription, somebody would have signed up with us, and that could be a general manager or an assistant manager, but he would never be the user. He would assign it to somebody who is using it. So we should identify who are those touch points for us, depending on the scenarios or the situations that we need to be talking to them. So that is one of those points that we need to remember. And then we'll have to pilot those customer journeys. Like we need to understand, where do we start from, what do we start with, and what is helpful for the customer. So that is where we identify and pilot them. And also we need to understand the emotions of customers. That is very important, where we are it's important for us to connect with them to understand what are they expecting from. Let's say when it comes to the matter of subscriptions, usage of some software, basically, some person would be very well knowledge theoretically, wouldn't know how to use it in a technical perspective. So you need to do a lot of hand holding. So understanding the emotions of a customer plays a very important role, because that helps you have a successful customer journey. And trust me, that is something where you have that trust with them, makes it a lot more easier than just say, call them up, hey, hello, how are you doing. From there to handhold them makes a lot of difference. One email, one touch of phone call, one touch of email, yes, agree, it's a process. But again, when you do a hand holding, I mean, you make their world easier to understand stuff. What are you trying to help them out? What is your agenda with them? Why are you reaching out to them? All that makes it very easier, because what's in it for them is very important. That's when you have that relationship with the user. So there again, like I said, emotions plays a very important role. And then you got to understand, jot out the customer goals along with that, so that you align to their business process. And again, I would say, you got to assess what's happening currently, because that is something where you start your journey as a customer success manager. Because assessing the existing one gives you an idea what is happening currently, what is their pain point, what do I address, where do I start with, and what change that I have to do to address their pain points, so that I'm aligning with their business process, and that leads to my success as a customer success manager as well. And then you got to test it out and then help them out in achieving their journeys and goals. I think these steps helps us map it very well to have a successful journey.
Okay, yeah. So, Pravina, you actually made a lot of good points. Especially, I mean, so one of the things that a lot of people talk about is personalizing, and how does it relate to customer journey, and if there is any impact of personalizing, and so can you share your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Why I said again, understanding the customer's emotion again plays an important role here. Personalization starts with that. Like I brought in an example of using a software. Could be anything. It just not be a software usage or anything. When you just get into their shoes and make them understand what you're trying to do, is where the personalization starts, and give them content, or I would say knowledge resources, which would help them a lot, which would make them understand what you're trying to teach them, or what we're trying to demo them. So when we give them a valuable content which they can understand easily, they will for sure follow your steps in how to use that, or how to implement what they're trying to do. So that's the first thing where we have to start a personalization with. And then with your touch points, you got to optimize them completely. So that is where again, your journey with them with the personalization is important. Why it makes a major role, and it plays a major role, is that when you don't have that personalization in anything that you're doing, it would be of no value to you as a customer success manager, and as a business to them as well. They might say, oh, the CSM just spoke to us on the day one, they told that this is what you have, this is what they're helping out with, and then week one nobody's talking to us, they don't have anything, they just sent some knowledge resources, they just send some emails, they send some I would say do it yourself stuff. Doesn't help. It's just an email and call, doesn't help them. Get on a call. And now these days, working from home is huge thing. So when you get on a call like this, have a face-to-face interaction with them, walk them through it, whatever you send them, walk them through it. And that's where the personalization plays an important role, when they understand what they are trying to do. So when they walk them through, they do that walkthrough by themselves, that's where they understand it easily. So we got to do that. And then, like I said, offer good material to them, very good value, and show them what is adding value there, and what is that you're trying to achieve with what we're teaching them. So that's where I would say personalization plays an important role in any customer journey for a CSM.
Okay, excellent. So, how do you improve? Because obviously, the goal of personalizing and touch points and a lot of these things you mentioned is basically to improve customer experience
Mhm.
at each stage of the customer journey.
Absolutely.
Because it's not just an academic thing that people do, like, oh, let's just start measuring customer journey and things of that nature. So basically, what are various things that a CSM can do to improve the customer experience?
Sure. Like we spoke, all of these, what are we doing? Personalization. How do we measure that? Again, this is an important role because, like you said, we got to do many things. And if it's not helping us and helping them, doesn't make any sense. It's just that we are doing some work there because it's our job. Because as a CSM, you got to help the customer is the main goal for us. But unless you measure them, it's not of any help for us. So how do you measure it? Let's say we have defined certain milestones while we started our journey, while we onboarded this customer with us. So these milestones could be their smaller steps to reach their business goals, what they have thought for the specific year. So when we are onboarding this customer, executing all of the plan that we had, and implementing them stage by stage. When we see the time taken or the achievements that they have to reach their milestones, that's where we start measuring that, because the achievement is important against the execution that we do. We may execute, and what if they're not achieving anything? It's just that they're sitting there, they know how to do it, and they're not achieving anything out of it. When we start their success rate, what is the percentage that they have achieved in that specific milestones, helps us um, to start measuring that conversion rate. So that is the first thing where we start measuring those touch points and our efforts, what we're doing. And also those journeys also matter. It's just not we're sitting in a first stage of journey and not going to the next stage. We need to get them to the next stage. We just onboarded them, we had a plan, we're trying to execute, next stage implement. We have to try them putting onto the every stages of that customer journey, so that we're trying to measure and see that we are helping them to achieve their measured goals or the success what they are intending to get. So this way makes us a customer success manager to measure the success ratio basically of what we're trying to do. And also basically the time taken, because not every implementation would just happen like this. It takes some time, because we would have defined the go live date for every customer journey is different. So that time taken is also important, because if we go beyond that time doing all the hand holding doesn't make sense to us, because we are killing our own time. Our own time is a value. So we are that again is to our organization. So instead of doing that, we got to make a customer get into our steps, making them comfortable, using it everything, and measuring that. So that time taken is also important. It's just not that we are here to help customer. Of course we are, and again that too has certain limits and boundaries for us too, because we should not go beyond that, so that we are valuing our time against what we have told them. So everything matters in there. That time is also important. And then the customer, I would say, the comfort level what they have in using whatever it is. So that is where the biggest success and the biggest measure of a journey, that I would say, in cumulative of whatever we are doing to help them out.
Yeah. No, so time to value, I think, is what you refer to in terms of onboarding, because one of the constant themes that I keep hearing from people I talk to is churn during onboarding and implementation time.
Exactly, exactly.
And one thing my kind of comment to when I hear that is that it's nothing unusual for a CSM to kind of reassure the customer and almost kind of resell what they bought already, because there's a lot of times when the selling process is with a different group of people than the people who are actually going to be using the product or the service.
Exactly, exactly.
And so
And
so
like you said,
making sure that you are watching the time to value
exactly.
is very critical.
And also to add to what you said, that was really on dot, because that's very important, because most of the churn rates, like you said, happens during the onboarding. It's on both the ends. A CSM should be watchful, because this the whole exercise that we are planning to do with the customer makes a lot of sense, because the churn rate percentage is high during this journey, and that indicates how CSM was trying to help them out, because CSM can take all the steps necessary. If the client is not responding, if the client is not coming on to us, talking to us, if the client is not really talking to us, CSMs, watch out for it. You're in danger. It may churn as soon as the week one, week two of your onboarding. So have a better communication with them. Make them speak. I would always say make a customer to talk to you. That's where
Eh,
the journey begins.
yeah, no, I agree with you, Pravina. And the other thing is that what I have seen is a customer that's not willing to talk is basically shouting at you that they are not happy. So just saying that, oh, I've not heard from the customer, what basically that should be translated in the head of the CSM is that they are not happy, that they are yelling at me, and they are so unhappy that they're not willing to talk to me. Yes, few times it happens that they are really busy and then they cannot talk to you, but those are
Agree.
very few and rare.
Very
Most of
few.
the time it's they are not happy with something, and it's your job as a CSM to figure out what they are not happy about.
Exactly. And
So
why, what made them not happy? And then why is that it's happening first place? And the second thing, how do we
right.
figure out? And maybe I would say reach out to the next level of a hierarchy. Maybe the signy person on the contract, talk to them and let them know this is what you signed up for. This is what your success, because our success lies in your success. So we make them aware what's happening and let them know that this is a situation, and then try to put things in a place where your customer is ready to talk to you.
So, one last thing I just wanted to kind of touch upon are like surveys like CSAT and NPS and
Uh-huh.
CES and those kind of things. How do you see these fitting in through the customer journey and measuring the touch points and the customer experience?
Okay, that's another good question, because as a CSM, that very much matters to us, because all this exercise that we do, ultimately, it comes down to a point where somebody is surveying, somebody is answering a survey for us, answering a few questions for us, answering a questionnaire for us, all of these. Because again, when it comes to those NPSs is very important, because that is where, when you see the net promoter score, when it's the customer is trying to rate the experiences, that's basically on your onboarding journey. So that again talks about your success, how you're able to onboard that customer, were you able to help them, what they needed, were they happy with that, were they satisfied, all that lies in one place. The other important thing is these matters, because if the customer is happy, satisfied, trust me, they are with you for the next year. They are with us on a continued journey. So the continual business, as we spoke last session, it's the, getting the existing business from existing customers is very important for any businesses. And these satisfying scores, or I would say NPSs, or any other feedbacks that customer gives us after the onboarding, that's where all the business lies in. So if they're happy with us, they're going to have another happy journey with us. So making a customer happy, keeping them happy, is important here for us to get the next businesses. So all of these scores are important for us.
No, yeah, totally. I mean, in my sometimes, I've used experience of a restaurant where CSMs are kind of like the chefs in the kitchen, and they get so caught up in the heat of the kitchen and the moment and all that, they forget that it's not about what is happening in the kitchen; it's what's happening on the guest table,
Correct.
right? If they got clean cutlery and all those type of things, and the food was warm, and the ice cream was not melting and falling off the the plate. So it's kind of like that. It's like that's a customer experience part of it, and the
Absolutely,
customers,
absolutely.
how they were greeted and all those kind of things.
Exactly. And again, all those feedbacks are very important to us, where we need to see if we lacked in any of those stages and what is the room for improvement for us. Because every customer is important for us, and that journey is the same with every customer that we do. So that helps us in improvement of a CSM as well, to how do we improvise our journeys and how do we act upon those also, because those are important to us, to an organization as well.
Yeah, no, again, okay. So thanks so much, Pravina, for sharing with us your thoughts on customer journey, customer success, second episode of it.
My
We will be
pleasure.
meeting again next week, same time, same channel, as they say. Pravina, you want to give us a quick sneak peek on what we will be talking about in the third episode?
Oh, sure. I think the ones that did join us, the last and the session, initially we started up with what is customer journey and how do we do it, how do we build it basically. And this session was how did we deliver those customer journeys, which is a step, the second step where we build and deliver. And next session we're going to talk about driving this customer journey. So there we would sum it up everything in the next session. So that completes our talk about customer success journeys, and we would talk about some strategies how I would say the best I would say the important or success stories, if something to share upon, we can talk about all of it in driving that customer journey.
Okay, thank you, Pravina. So, people, we have another exciting session happening next week. So don't forget to join. And if you like this session, please like and subscribe to us on YouTube and LinkedIn. And you can also contact me directly on LinkedIn, or on YouTube. You can leave a comment, and I will leave the link to the first episode in the description of this as well, so you can watch the first episode in case you missed it. Thank you once again, and look forward to meeting you all again next week.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.